You are now tuned in to a space where the stars align with the soul, where Afro roots hold the blueprint and real life stories light the way. Welcome to Black Girl Edition. I'm your host, Candace Jackson, and we're here to vibe through the cosmos, sip the realest tea, and honor the power of our culture, our spirit, and our truth. Stay grounded, stay cosmic, and stay you.
Greetings, everyone. Um, Today, I want to talk about some of the things that we're seeing in our society, in our climate. I can't necessarily speak for any other location other than the one that I'm in, and I am an American citizen. Now, I think a lot of us are in a place of shock and confusion and anger and fear, nonetheless. Um, because of the things that we are being exposed to and seeing in the day and age that we are in. So I think a lot of people are having a hard time understanding how we were once in a time that appeared to be so progressive to now be in 2025. And it seems to all be dismantled. Um, and who is bringing in the dismantling and all the things that can come from that is very upsetting, frustrating. It's very challenging. And not only that, but I think that we're seeing clear, distinct views from a very vast group of people in ways that I think was once hidden. And I think all these things are topics that we need to discuss, hash out, and really get our mindset shifted to a different place. And I think once we get there, we'll be able to see things a bit more clearly for what they are and what they are gradually becoming to be. So, for one of the biggest things that I want to say, which I know is not easy, it's one of those things you can say, but living it is much harder to do. But let's talk about the fear part of this, right? Now, fear is another human emotion like all the other ones, and at times, it seems uncontrollable when we have our certain emotions, but just like any other one that we deal with, this can be managed just the same. Now, our fears do not have to control us, they do not have to overtake us, but rather it can shift us into a different perspective or a different position or a action that we may need to take. And I encourage you to do that. Lean into the fear and see what is even my biggest fear. Because sometimes we take the idea in our mind and it's so fearful that we just kind of shove it down and we don't really open the door and be like, well, how could this be? How deep can it get? Now, I am not saying this for you to spiral into a depression. Please guard your mental health first. I'm not a professional, so by no means do I want to give misinformation. Okay, if you have a therapist or someone you speak to and you know that maybe you have more of a gentler spirit that cannot take the things that I'm saying this moment, that's okay. Cut the video off, go catch another one of mine, and we'll keep it moving. And when you're ready, you're ready. But for those of you who can endure and withstand what I'm saying, hear me clearly. Lean into your fear. Find out what is your biggest fear. What is your phobia in this matter? What is it that you are afraid of? When you get to that point and you can think about that on more than one occasion, you will start to remove the shock factor of what in your mind could potentially be a thing. Now, a lot of times we know fear will make things look more grand than what they really are, and maybe in fact it will never be that. Reality is it might be that. I'm not sure. I do not know the fears and the things that you may see in your mind. However, I do know that you can remove that shock factor. And the more that you make it a common thought, the more that you remove that heavy intensity of that fear, then you can start to rationalize and normalize that thought. And then something can begin to kick in, which is action, problem solving, being proactive. Well, what can I do for this to not happen? Because see, you've already gotten past that point of what you think will be the most fearful situation. Once you've got there, well, now you can remove that. And now you have more mental space, more capacity for the position that you really need to be in, which may be more tactical. Tactical mentally, psychologically, intellectually, emotionally. Now, beyond the fact of fear, which, that's a whole nother video that we definitely, I probably need to get into and divulge a little bit more. But let's get back to the times in what we're in. And I want to say this may be a very hard go of it for people who are a bit more traditional, for people who are fixed sign, I would say, because change is a theme and will be a theme and continually will show its behind for a while. And it may be unexpected changes, right? If you want, you can go to my other video and I'll explain a lot of things on another level as to what's kind of behind that, what energy is really pushing forth all of this change. And as people, we are catalysts for these energies. And when you can remove the face and look at what's being shifted and see people as the catalyst for what's to be, then you can kind of remove that emotional stench that you can have towards someone and look at things for what they are a little bit more clearly than what you were before, because you've removed that part that's so disdaining and so upsetting and triggering for you, and be able to look at it from a different point of view, different perspective, right? We're in time, so we're going to have to be okay with change, whether it be temporary and long-term or long-term. So I say this because there may be something set in order to be that won't last. We're used to a very archaic view of the world, archaic ways and traditions, where you had a law and that was law, right? What else is there beyond law? And that thing sticks and it holds, and you may tweak it a bit. And we're in a place to where tweaking is not happening. It is a full on blowing it up, breaking it apart like it was never a thing. But just as quick as the shakeup is as quick as it can leave. So this is a time to where you gotta be a bit more fluid. You gotta be a bit more airy. You gotta be a bit more detached. Things will come and go. Changes will come and go. Society as we know it will look nothing like it looks now. 7, 8, 10 years from now. It just won't. The rise that we will have in technology and AI, that alone. The way that people will gather with their families will be different. See, we're looking at everything. It's like, well, if it's not traditional, if it's not the foundation, if it's not this, then how are we going to survive? And this is the age, well, I'm going to show you this is how we can survive in what we're in now. Now, we all know how important fundamentals are and foundation, and that's something that we do not completely have to abandon. Those are building blocks. But now we've got to learn to shift and move, and I mean shift and move fast. If that's not working, abandon it. If that's not working, cut it. Move on. Go. Even in relationships, you will see more and more a different view and perspectives on what a relationship is to someone. It may not be man and woman, woman and woman, man and man, okay? It may be couples to couple, maybe two men, one woman. It may be a group. They may have all the responsibilities. You're going to see things in such a different way. Love being shown in a unique way. And that is going to be a very hard concept for a lot of people. People may say, I do not want to have children, and that's my personal right, and there's nothing you can do about it, and they won't. Procreation will not be the main goal for a human. That's what was told. That's what appeared to be a natural thing to do. That's very hard to remove from the mind. But yet, it is things and things as such that will continue to shock the equilibrium. So get adjusted to change and change frequently. Adaptability will be very important. I'm giving you key words. The more that you can do this, the more that you can open your mind. And I'm not saying that your values have to change. I'm not saying that you have to then partake in all these different things. What I'm saying is open up your mind to be able to hear clearly. Because the more close-minded you are, the more disconnected you are from the things that are shifting and moving in the way that your family or your legacy will be living in. And it is far better to open and hear what the streets are saying than to be closed up under a rock. That's survival. So get past the fear. Work through the fear. Work in the fear. But still get to the destination, which is action, which is change, which is adaptability, being fluid, being knowledgeable. And you'll be surprised if you are honest with yourself that there may be things inside that you're already feeling and shifting and changing that you never thought. You may be like, dang, 10, 15 years ago, I would have never thought that that was okay. I would have thought this was strange or weird. But baby, we are in the age of weird and strange, unique, indifferent, not the norm. And you're a part of it. You were born in this time for a reason. So I want to invoke the thought. I want to provoke you a bit to explore that side of you and see what unique differences and changes from maybe the past 7-8 years are in your life now. Think about 2018 and what that looked like, and how vastly it looks different today. Because it's going to look even more wilder coming up very shortly. And I say this because I want people to be prepared. I want people to understand the times that we're in. Many years ago, I began feeling a shift and a pull. And I think that a lot of people thought I was crazy or losing my mind, or I was influenced somehow by someone or a group or whatever you want to call it. But some people are a little bit more in tune in one thing or another. And I remember for years hearing about this, and everyone has their own called word for it. Some people think it's the end times or revelations, and some people say it's evolution, and it's a shift. And we're in a new world, and we're still transforming and I don't want anyone to be clueless. Now, it's not going to look like it did before. People are fearful because of what you heard in history books. People are fearful because of the very horrible things that we know humans have done to each other. And all that is still there. The difference is that the veil is gone. There's no filter. There's no hide and go seek it. It's right there. It's on the chat. It's in the chat. It's in the comments. It's on our TV. There's no reason to hide it. See, this is an age of information and truth and discovery. And we're discovering that people's mindsets, some of them never changed. They just knew how to put on a really good facade in a very religious way. So, with that being said, what we're going into is something we haven't witnessed before. And although it can be very fearful of the unknown, everything doesn't have to be so reactive. There are so many ways that we can be guided. The information is already there. The path, everything is there. And there are people that have been prepared for times like this, who have been called for times like this, who have felt the knowing of this. Those are the people you call on. Those weirdos, maybe, those unique people that society might have shunned out and said, you're strange and your ideologies and, what are you talking about? Check on them. Because I think they was hitting on something good. So, that is all that I have to say about that today. However, if you like my video, if you find it interesting, share it. Maybe someone else will like it too. If you double tap, that would be great. If you like it, hit the thumbs up, whatever platform that you're watching it on. Do what you gotta do and let me know that this is content that you like and that you want to see, and maybe it's something that resonated with you. If you want to see more, then subscribe. Definitely click the link, check my bio, do all the good stuff. And I would love for you to come back with me and put some comments below. I know they all won't be pleasant. So what? It's all about the dialogue and the conversation, and I think that people need a space to do that and do so freely, without the criticism, without the judgment, no matter how weird, how strange, how traditional, how non-traditional, how awkward, how whatever it is, say it. Because it's nothing compared to what we are about to endure and go through. And I want people to see that and read that and come to the conclusion that the world has changed. And we need to evolve right along with it. So, until you see again, I love you all, beautiful souls. Bye.